Guys, it is Tuesday, and you know what that means. It is time for Pigskin Frenzy. I am so super duper pumped. We got a very special guest on tap today, Caleb Rutherford from LA Chargers Gridiron blog page on Instagram. I'm so excited to bring him on. We've been talking off and on, just trying to get him on the show. I'm excited for him to be on. I'm excited to talk with him and sit down and discuss just, football, college football in general, and just being what a follower in Christ means in Christian football media. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about this whole episode. Guys, I know that you're pumped and I know that you're ready for some Pigskin Frenzy. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, or listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you have to do is just share around with others. Follow, share around, like each episode, leave comments there down below as well. There's also our X and Instagram at pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories, go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things to date and exclusive content for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, there's our website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You'll find all things to date for the show there. Platform page, affiliations page, store page, you name it, coming up soon for the website. It's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, I am so fired up to do this show today. It's not even funny. I woke up feeling alive to do some college football coverage and just to continue on with a little bit of our Frenzy interview series and just talking with other guests who are in football media and who are running blog pages, running podcasts just like me. So, guys, we have a very special guest, big-time college football guy, Tennessee fan, which we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're also going to talk about how he is running the LA Chargers Gridiron blog page. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Caleb Rutherford, founder of the LA Chargers Gridiron blog page. Everybody's clapping. I know I'm clapping right now. Caleb, how you doing, man? What's up?
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
I am doing phenomenal. Now that you're on, I'm doing phenomenal, man. Just give us a quick introduction, because I know that I did this with Matt a little bit. And when he was on from Orange Crush News 365, go back and watch that episode, by the way, 'cause that was a really good sit-down talk. But talking about just who you are and what you do with LA Chargers Gridiron just for a little bit, and just you as a person. So just talk about that. Introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, so my name's Caleb Rutherford. Obviously, thank you, Joe, for the introduction. I appreciate it. I run LA Chargers Gridiron fan page. The most important thing in my life, I'm a follower of Jesus. I know we'll talk about that a little more here in just a little bit. I'm a husband. I have a beautiful wife. Her name's Madison. Extremely talented, beautiful. Love her more than life. And then I have a daughter, 1-year-old daughter named Amaya. She turned 1 in April. Growing like a weed. It's crazy. Just started walking. I'm a huge sports fan. Massive football fan, basketball, baseball, track and field, a little bit of everything. Massive sports fan, whether that's college, pro, you name it. Might know a little bit about it. Hockey's where I'm still a little green there, but played college basketball for 2 years. My wife was a All-American track athlete and cross-country athlete, so that's where I got my love for that a little bit. That and my dad. So every sport, you name it, I've probably got a little bit of love for it. But that's a little bit about myself.
Absolutely. And guys, go and follow Caleb Rutherford at LA Chargers Gridiron on his page and on Instagram. It is amazing. Love what he does there. I've been keeping track on it and still keeping tabs on it. We worked for the same company for a little bit, but now that we're, kind of like separated from that, we still kept in touch. We're still ready to go. We're still rocking and rolling. And we've been talking about getting on Pigskin Frenzy for a little bit. And just talking about, just in general, right? Just to get you on and just discuss just football, but also just to talk about life outside of football media and before that. What is your daily life like in general besides just football media? I know I like talking about college football, but guys, we all have personalities outside of this, right? So talk about your life outside of the football media, outside of LA Chargers Gridiron blog page.
Yeah. So really, the most important thing, I'm a follower of Jesus, like I was saying earlier. A massive follower of Jesus. That's Jesus has my heart forever. I know that's a little weird to say, but uh, he changed my life when I was in the darkest times of my life. Um, yeah, he was there for me whenever I needed him most. So that's the biggest portion of my life, is that, and then obviously father and a husband. Uh, love spending time with them. Love watching football and finding out more about any sport you can name. But I'm kind of an open book for the most part. I don't have a ton of like secrets or anything like that, hidden secrets, but um, that's a little about myself, I guess.
Absolutely. And you mentioned you touched this because it's definitely not weird because on this show, I always say it after each and every episode, just talking about my love for Jesus and how without him, we wouldn't be doing this show and we didn't have the platform to do this show. So I'm so thankful for him, and I'm so thankful for him blessing us with this show. So you mentioned that and touched on that a little bit. Talk about your faith in Jesus, kind of what it means to you personally, and not really like a testimony sharing or anything like that, but we're talking about just like it's just a core cliff note bold
Yeah.
statement in all caps. What does he mean to you? And what does your faith mean to you?
Yeah.
Just in life in general.
Yeah, it means the world to me. I know that's kind of a vague statement, but it does. Really, and a lot of people get it mixed up. Like, you don't have to get clean before you go to Jesus. Um, you, I take it like a shower, right?
Yeah.
You don't get clean before you hop in the shower. You hop in the shower to get clean. So,
Right.
with that analogy, Jesus is obviously the shower in that analogy, but because he cleanses us of our sins. Him dying on the cross for me is like it's hard to comprehend. Really, I'm so thankful. So thankful for him dying for me. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you it's like you take it for granted, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like we can't live life and do all these things. It's like how do we do these things? How are we blessed with such good gifts in life? It only comes from one thing, and it's our
Yes.
Creator and the guy who and the man who created us and the God who created us, and it's Jesus. So,
Yeah.
it was really good that you used that analogy, and it was really good that you said that. So I'm thankful that you shared on that. And there's one thing about just blending the two in because I run Pigskin Frenzy. I do my show here. You do LA Chargers Gridiron, and just it's all forms of football media in general. There's a lot of people that say without Jesus I wouldn't do this, and then go do something else that's unlikely of what Jesus would do, right?
Yeah.
So talk about being a Christian in football media, and talk about like how different it is, like because a lot of people say, okay, hey. And this is not me calling anybody out at all, but I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of where it's like, okay, well, I can, proclaim that I'm a Christian, right? And call it out, right? And just say it. But then at the end of the day, you go and, don't you say it's like you don't walk the talk, right?
Yes. Yes.
You don't walk the
Absolutely.
walk when you talk the talk, right? So, talk
Absolutely.
about that and talking about just being a Christian in football media and what it means to you.
Yeah. It's different for sure. Because like you were saying, a lot of people um, claim they are, but they don't necessarily, you know, walk it. I lately I've been trying to incorporate that a lot more into my post and stuff like that. if you've seen a couple of my more recent posts, I've included like Bible verses in like photo edits and stuff like that. Um, Whatever I can do to just plant seeds, that's my goal, is to plant seeds, man. Um, Plant seeds and bring them to Jesus as much as I can, as much as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
Um, it's different because like I don't necessarily catch flack, but you do get some like some hesitancy from different people when you communicate with them and stuff like that, um, because they can tell. I guess that's a good thing that they can tell, but I don't know. I really want to walk it like I talk it, basically,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Like the Migos song almost.
It
Yeah.
like the Migos song,
Yeah.
just like it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too. There's a lot of people out there that really, it's like behind the scenes of it. You think, okay, there's gonna be a lot of dirt that goes on,
Mm,
right? But
absolutely.
you want to steer clear from that, and you want to be, that follower who is okay. I'm going to say it on air, or I'm going to live it off air too. So I
Absolutely.
think that's the best way to go about it when it comes to being a Christian in football media. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that we
Absolutely.
had that talk, and I'm glad that we discussed faith because it is important. It's the most important thing that you can have in your
For
life.
sure.
So,
For sure.
and we could discuss. I do that at the outro of my show, so I'm not going to do that until then. But talking about just going into football because we're talking about football media itself. In general, when did you first were like when you saw the game of football? When did you first fall in love with football? And was it college that you fell in love with first, or was it NFL that you fell in love with first?
Yeah, so what I fell in love with, oddly enough, so like I would play at school and stuff like that, and I enjoyed it. And I started playing Little League when I was like 6 or whatever, and I kind of liked it, but this is weird, but I played NCAA football,
Hmm.
and it got me hooked, man. It did. And then on top of that, I had like some games that really stood out to me that just drew me in. Um, like I think it was 2007. It was LSU and Tennessee in the SEC championship game. Um, that was a great game. My Vols lost, of course. LSU went on to win the national championship. But Eric Berry was playing for Tennessee. I remember that game like it was yesterday. That's one of the first games I remember like watching and like observing and understanding and stuff like that. And then not long after that, I watched the Super Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 42, maybe something like that. It was the helmet catch,
Yeah,
with the Giants.
and
Because
the
I was rooting
Patriots. Yeah,
so hard. I was rooting so hard for the Giants that game because um, I'm not a Patriot. I was never a Patriots guy.
yeah.
And then that game, that really got me loving football right there. Like I was in a little more, and then when that I saw that helmet catch, I was all in, all in.
And it's moments like that and games like that that you're thinking in your heart, like, man, I love it. I love this. I want to watch it. I want to be in football media. Or I want to pursue a career in that and just
Yes,
be around it, right? So it's
absolutely.
games like that that you mentioned. That's why I fell in love with the game because moments like that, and it's like, how can you not like that stuff, right? How can you not be inspired by what those players are doing on the field, and on the turf and or natural grass when it comes to college football each and every weekend? So that's really really good as you mentioned that as well. And you're talking about just getting into football and just getting into football media. Talk about the start of your page, your LA Chargers Gridiron page, man. I mean, it's a really, really, guys, it's an awesome page. Go and follow it. I enjoy a lot of the posts that Caleb does and a lot of the work that you do with LA Chargers Gridiron. So talk about that page and how it became to be and what got you into it and what got you was like, hey, I want to start this.
Yeah. So my dad grew up a massive Chargers fan. That back in the '80s, '90s, that's when like Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow, all kinds of Charlie Joyner. My dad was a massive fan, and he kind of passed that along to me whenever I was born. Um, and really, that's what got me liking the Chargers. And then I was like, man, these pages are really cool. And it was like maybe August of July or August of 2023. And it was the off season. I was coaching high school basketball at the time. And it was in the off season, and I was kind of bored, and I was just watching football. And I was like, man, I want to do something. I want to do something. So I just decided to make it. I just got bored, and I love it. I enjoy it. My wife thinks it's silly sometimes, but I'm just kidding. She supports me, but I enjoy doing it. I really do.
And the thing is, like, you can go even deeper with it. You know what I mean? You can still post and go even deeper because people can reach out to you and say, "Hey, we want you to do this. We want you to work here for us on this." It can come a long way.
For
So
sure.
it's awesome to sit there and think, you know what, on the couch, man. Let me just start this just to see what happens, and then it can turn it into something much bigger. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, if you have the itch to start something just because you feel like it or just because you want to and you have that passion to do it, keep on going and keep on plugging in and just keep on pursuing it. That's all I'm going to say. This is an inspirational episode, ladies and gentlemen. Just pursue what you want to do. So I'm hitting my mic. I'm getting so excited, but just pursue what you want to do. That's pretty much it on that end of things. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So going into just, following up because you're LA Chargers Gridiron, dude. So what do you expect going in from a slight NFL one? Because I know I don't do NFL that much anymore. It really wasn't on here on the thing, the notes that we had together. But I just want to throw this one at you just for a little like a curve. What do you expect from the Chargers this year, and how do you expect them to bounce back after what happened in the opening round of the playoffs against the Texans? I know I don't cover NFL anymore, but I did a similar question last week with Matt. So talk about it. Talk about what do you expect from your Chargers going into 2025?
Yeah, I thought last year they overachieved. I think they'll do it this year too. I don't think they'll be as bad as some people still predict them to. Um, I don't see them um, going quite to the Super Bowl or anything like that yet. They're not quite to that level. They still have some more puzzle pieces they need. Um, but I definitely see playoffs. I see for once actually competing with the Chiefs for the division. I think it'll be a really unique year for the Chargers. I think we got some really good pieces this offseason that can help us get to that next level. So I'm super excited to see it for sure.
Absolutely. So hey, you heard it here first, man. Hey, they could get to that level, but they're not at that level yet. But they have some more pieces to get there. But they're getting close, man. They're getting close.
Yes.
That's a good analysis. Thank you for sharing with that. And you're also another fan of a team as we dive deep into our college football talk, and that's Tennessee. So what made you a Tennessee fan? Was it okay, I just grew up a Tennessee fan, or what made you a Tennessee Volunteers guy? And I know you're not a lot of people are going to say, oh, bandwagon. It's not really you're a bandwagon. You like who you like. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like I'm interested by you being a Tennessee guy. So what made you become a Tennessee fan, and how did it all start?
Man, so it's wild for me. First of all, there's been a lot of ups and downs for me, mainly downs until the recent probably 5 years. Um, but so my parents actually found out my gender whenever my mom was having me the day Tennessee won their last national championship. So they almost
Interesting.
named me. Tennessee had a running back or fullback. His name was Sean Bryson at the time. They almost named me Bryson. Um, they ended up not, obviously. They didn't like it as much. Um, but yeah, I grew up as a Tennessee fan. I'm about 30 minutes from Neyland Stadium, so it's pretty cool. Um, grew up a diehard Tennessee fan. Um, Obviously, it's always been in a. I've always. I've never saw a really really good season until probably 2022, with the Hendon Hooker um, season where he was balling out. Um, but yeah, I had. There's been so many ups and downs with the Vols. Uh, I enjoy every second of it though. It's it's a it's a unique relationship, Joe.
Yeah.
Unique for sure.
And it happens, you get one of those
Yeah.
teams where it's like, why is this happening? Like, why is this season going on the way it's going on? And then you get the season like 2022 with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt, and you get,
Mhm.
Dylan Sampson in the backfield and Jalen Wright, and, yeah, it's like when you see all those guys and you're like, whoa, dude, Tennessee's loaded in 2022. That offense was electric, right?
Mhm.
And then you just get fired about that stuff. So you can have ups and down relationship with your team. It's normal. It's common. There's a lot of
For
college
sure.
football fans that listen to my show that have that. So I'm kind of glad you brought that up because that's very, very interesting. Speaking of Tennessee, let's get into Tennessee football really quick. As a Tennessee person, you know
Yeah.
about the team and you studied their team and you know what's going on. Discuss a little bit about 2025. Your kind of overview of it early on. Like, what do you expect from them in 2025? Do you expect any shockers, or what do you expect?
So obviously, we're going to look different. Losing Dylan Sampson's, gosh, that's a massive loss for us. I mean, he was the SEC leading rusher, and then we lose a first round talent off the edge in James Pierce. So those are two major major losses for us. And then losing Nico, obviously, um, in a weird way. I'm hoping Joey Aguilar can fit into that role. Um, and I think our floor is about 7-5, and then you're going to think I'm crazy here, but I think our ceiling is 11-1.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is if you look at Tennessee's schedule, um, it's kind of favorable for them. I could see us losing to Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. I could see us losing those three. Um, but I think the most realistic one is 9-3 would be my what I would predict. I do like again. I don't expect the 11-1, but I do think that is the ceiling right there, like borderline playoff team, right at the playoff line, I guess.
And you got Oklahoma and Arkansas still in effect as well too. You got those two
Hmm.
games, and
Yes.
Oklahoma's going to come in really, really good as well.
Yeah,
Coming into
for
Neyland Stadium really
sure.
strong because of how talented they are through the portal and what they went through this offseason was a dramatic change. So in talent.
Absolutely.
So Oklahoma's going to be a game to watch out for as well. But 9-3, that could be realistic because if Joey
Mhm.
Aguilar is what everybody says that he is, he could be, that guy that's like, all right, Tennessee's back at it again,
Yes.
could dude, I'm not saying quite like a Hendon Hooker, but
Yeah.
like, just going on with, okay, 9-3, 10-2 even.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I completely agree.
Yeah, I just think that Tennessee's one of those teams where you just gotta. It's one of those things where it's like unknown at that point, right? At
Yes.
first, right? But then when you look and
Very.
then when you watch them play, you're like, oh man, they may be good, or oh, this may not be good. So it's one of those things where it's like we'll see, right? So,
Yes.
in talking about just college football in general, because I know you love Tennessee, and guys, if you like Tennessee, keep plugging into Pigskin Frenzy because we're gonna have more Tennessee talk on future episodes. We'll have an SEC conference standing projections coming up on July 1st, on the July 1st episode of Pigskin Frenzy. So tune into that because that's our last conference standing projection episode for 2025. But moving on, just talk about some college football for a little bit because I know you look at the broader scope as well of the sport. There are a lot of good players entering the 2025 year. I mean, a ton. In the mind of Caleb Rutherford, who are some of those players that in your mind that sticks out that you need to that us in general and me included we need to watch out for entering 2025?
Yeah. So I've got like four or five that just pop. into my mind. One of them is a sleeper, a massive sleeper. Um, and I have to go with one Tennessee guy, and it's Jermod McCoy. He tore his ACL this offseason, but he was so good last year. Um, I think right now they project him to be a potential first round pick, depending on this season, obviously. Um, but I think if he has another year like he did last year, I think um, he'll again boost Tennessee's secondary or help Tennessee's secondary take another step because that's where they've struggled the past couple years. But easily, I mean, you probably already know who I'm going to say. Jeremiah Smith is absurd. I don't understand him. He's a freak,
It's a menace to
absolute freak.
society. Just a menace to society. Yeah.
Yes, he's insane. Um, and then I have Jeremiah Love too. Man, Jeremiah Love is so good. He is so good. I'm a massive fan of his. Um, I didn't really watch much Notre Dame until the college football playoff, and golly, when I did, he just stood out to me. I was like, man, he's going to be really, really good. I think he'll be a really good NFL player too one day. Um, and obviously another Ohio State guy. I know I just won the Natty, but Caleb Downs too. Like, good grief, you got Jeremiah Smith on offense, then Caleb Downs on defenses. Wow, that's insane. And there's plenty of other players I probably could have named, but those are the four that just like pop into my mind right away.
Absolutely. I think Jeremiah Love, and I like how you mentioned Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love was our number one running back entering, our top 10 list off of our running backs entering the 2025 season. I'm really high on Jeremiah Love. I like his explosiveness. I like his speed. So I'm glad that you mentioned Jeremiah Love. I think he's got a really good shot to bring home Notre Dame's first Doak Walker Award. Doak Walker, I did that quiz question on Instagram the other day. The answer is no. Notre Dame has never had a Doak Walker Award winner. They have never had somebody win that award. So Jeremiah Love could be the first. I think he's a solid back. He's explosive. He's powerful. And he's thinking brighter than just Doak Walker. He said, and this was covered by On3 earlier, that he wants to win the Heisman. So I saw that the other day, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe he could do it if he's explosive enough. Maybe he could, shoot all the way in there. So and Jeremiah Smith, obviously, I keep saying this all the time. When you see Jeremiah Smith, you run away. He's a scary individual. When people are comparing him to prime Julio Jones, that's scary. And Julio Jones was a freak when I was growing up. So I'm just saying, when you compare him to that's high praise. So those are some good players to watch out for entering the 2025 year. I'm glad that you mentioned them. And just to wrap everything up, and just to conclude this episode, because we're coming on the close to the 30-minute mark. I mean, there's not really off time, but just to wrap up everything. Week 1 matchups that you're most excited for entering the 2025 year. This is probably the most stacked Week 1 that we've seen in quite some time. You even got a stacked Week 0 game in Dublin with Kansas State going on to take on Iowa State. Now, those are some great games. A Big 12 matchup happening early on. Then the next week you get matchups that are just superb on Labor Day weekend. So talk about some of the matchups that you're excited for entering the 2025 season, or not really 25 season, but entering Week 1 and just Week 1 overall. Some of those matchups that really just stick out to you.
Yeah, so my number one, I've got to go with my Vols still because I watch them nearly religiously. Like, I watch them so much.
Yeah.
They play Syracuse. I think that'll be a great game. I think they're both very evenly matched teams. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee ended up losing this one even. There's so much unknown, like you were saying, with Tennessee. So I think that's a great matchup. And then Ohio State, Texas, Week 1. I mean, that's a college football playoff game. Like, that's crazy. Potential national championship game, even. I know there's so much unknown with Arch as well. And same with Ohio, whoever Ohio State ends up starting. I assume it'll be Julian Sayin, um, would be my guess. LSU Clemson is another one. You're like, holy cow, you've got all these week one. I mean, it's crazy. And then Utah UCLA, and you're probably like, why you have UCLA? But I have a little bad blood with UCLA now since since Nico's there. I wish him the best. Don't get me wrong, but I'm curious to see what happens there. So that's highly anticipated for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some games, man. You also got Georgia Tech, Colorado. Um,
Yes.
you mentioned there's also Virginia Tech and South Carolina. You
Yeah.
have Miami Notre Dame. That's another one. Miami Notre Dame is going to be an interesting one as well. I like that you mentioned Tennessee Syracuse. I think Syracuse is a sleeper team again. I think a lot of people and a lot of spectators are thinking, okay, yeah, they did really, really good last year. Syracuse won 10 plus games, and they had to replace McCord at quarterback. And then Trevor Pena went to Penn State through the portal. But here's the deal, man. I mean, Syracuse has still got Angeli, who came from Notre Dame, and still got Ricky Collins coming in from LSU in the quarterback battle, both who are, to me, really good quarterbacks, and I think they could shine in Fran Brown's system. So don't sleep on Fran Brown and Cuse, man. I think the Orange can be doing something, but Tennessee's going to be a tough opponent for them in week one. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Baylor and Auburn's going to be an interesting one. And then Texas and Ohio State and LSU and Clemson, obviously those two games are going to be something as well. One more before we wrap up. Florida State and Alabama. Florida State and Alabama is going to be an interesting one. Can Florida State restart everything and kind of get back on track after that poor season last year? Or is Alabama going to start off hot once again? It's in Doak Campbell. Going to be an interesting matchup there. So those are some good matchups that we mentioned, and I think we're excited to see where it goes and it unfolds. So one more, and this is a kind of a spoiler pick, I guess, and we'll wrap it up with this. So what's your prediction, or really not prediction, but to me, one spoiler pick, and then I'll go into one more last question, I guess. So what's your pick for the Tennessee Syracuse game early? I'm kind of interested to hear about that one. And then they're all important matchups, but what's the most crucial matchup in week one that plays out for the 2025 season?
For sure. So for me, I have to go with Tennessee still, just because of the defense they had last year. I think that really boosted them. And like I was saying earlier, Dylan Sampson's massive shoes to fill. I do think they have some running back pieces. Deshaun Bishop, he was really good last year before his ankle injury. And I think he'll be a sleeper for the SEC leading rusher. So I have to go with Tennessee there, but I think the biggest one, in my opinion, for college football playoff, man, I would probably say Notre Dame and Miami. The reason I say that is because Notre Dame being not having a conference, I feel like that game being a Power 5 can dictate a lot more for them. And maybe I'm just looking from from a broad lens, but I think for Notre Dame that is a massive game. I don't think it's as big for Miami because they'll still play some competitive teams. Notre Dame will too, but they won't have as many chances as Miami does to prove themselves, in my opinion.
That's a really good pick, an interesting pick, because Notre Dame's got a heck of a schedule coming up. So I think it's a really, really good pick. Miami, Notre Dame, you heard it here first from Caleb Rutherford. Guys, Notre Dame, Miami, that could be a crucial matchup for week one. So watch out for that matchup. There's a lot of good ones on. We can't wait until August 30th gets here, and we cannot wait until Labor Day weekend gets here for college football. So excited. Guys, round of applause for Caleb. Thank you for joining us on Pigskin Frenzy today. We'll love to have you back as soon as we can, and we're thankful that you got on. Guys, that's all we got for today. Big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just listen and sit back and watch and listen to some college football coverage and some Frenzy interview series coverage with me and Caleb, presented by us and me, guys. If you watch it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, guys, just follow, share around with others as well. X and Instagram at pigskin_frenzy. Follow up the pages there. You're going to get news and highlights from across college football, trivia questions on Instagram stories, going to answer today's college football question, as well as all things of today and exclusive content from Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website's online, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You'll find all things of today there. And also, that's pretty much all we got. Guys, thank you again. And not only that, if you want to come to know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, guys, the website's there, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There's a contact info down below the Home and About Me page, name, email, and question. I'll answer it on air or off air if need be. There is also X and Instagram at pigskin_frenzy. DM me there, contact me there. We can talk about it, because without Jesus, we wouldn't have all of this. So we thank him and give him all the praise, and we glorify him for giving us Pigskin Frenzy. So we are thankful for him. We love him, and we praise him for everything that he's done with the show. And guys, 5,000 listeners. So that's a big, big thing. We're thankful for you guys. We're going to keep on trucking along. We'll be back Thursday with our continuation a little bit of our Frenzy interview series. We got a huge fan from super fan from Kansas City coming in. His name is Santos R. Adiano II. He is talking about the Mizzou Kansas City split and the borderline war there. He's going to talk about being a previous Chiefs ticket holder. A lot of things there. You're not going to want to miss it, and you're not going to want to miss what we got to say on Thursday. So until Thursday, I'm Joel Norris signing off. That's Caleb Rutherford. Guys, for everybody out there, please and always stay the course.